Today we're talking about a hunter build and trying to have some fun on the game as a hunter in this bolt charge dictatorship of an episode that we're having. But first and foremost, I just want to put a disclaimer at the front of the video. This is not going to be some revolutionary build that I just came up with and no one else is using. This is a very popular concept of a build. If you know what Inmost Search Arachne is, then you know what the core of the build is, and if you don't want to watch another Search Arachne video, I understand. That's totally fine. See you in the next video. But for people that want to have a nice, fun build to play with hunters that's very, very meta right now, or if you just want to learn something because you're a new player, then this is the video for you. Now that we've dispatched the clickbait Karens, let's jump into the build. The concept for today's build is essentially the saying, a good offense is a great defense. And boy, our offense is going to go through the roof with this setup, stacking a sickening amount of damage resist. Since we already mentioned it, let's cover our exotic armor first. We are rocking an exotic class item with the perks Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of Search Arachne. Search Arachne is going to be our engine starter. This perk provides us with Woven Mail anytime we use our grenade. Our grenade of choice for this build is going to be Strand Grapple. Not only does this provide us with great movement tech, but it also does a few extra bonuses as well that synergize with the rest of our build. The activation will give us Woven Mail, which is, by the way, a 40% damage resist against enemies, but then the conclusion of the grapple, the part where you can just throw a melee swing at the end, will then unravel enemies and also potentially make a tangle. Why does that matter? Well, besides unraveling enemies and debuffing them, this also makes them a prime target for one of our aspects, Stylish Executioner. Should your grapple melee kill the enemy, you will instantly be turned invisible and be safe from other enemies. And if you don't kill an enemy, that's also fine because they are now marked from the unraveling, and when you do finish them off, you will still go invisible. Meanwhile, our other class item perk, Inmost Light, will be providing us with increased ability regeneration as we cycle through all of our abilities, in this case, Grenade, Melee, and Class ability. Speaking of which, let's talk about those last two. First, our Melee ability, Threaded Spike. Threaded Spike is a great staple for this build as it is a ranged melee ability that has an insane tracking rate onto enemies as well as bouncing off of them and hitting several targets. As it does this, it severs enemies, which in turn provides you more damage resist against them. Oh, and by the way, this also will turn you invisible, whether the melee impact kills them itself, or it'll just leave them severed, which you can then finish them off. Since they're debuffed, you will then again go invisible thanks to Stylish Executioner. Finally, after your melee has done all of that, it also then returns to you boomerang style, and should you catch it on the way back, you then get a chunk of melee energy back depending on the amount of hits, and potentially, you just got a free melee charge back to use it again. Then we have the class ability. This is what puts this build over the top for me. Our class ability is actually going to be our second aspect of the build, Ascension. Ascension does a few things here. When you activate Ascension while airborne, it'll consume your class ability in exchange for lighting up enemies under you, jolting them, and making you amplified in the process. And yeah, you guessed it, this will also turn you invisible. But that's not all. Thanks to Amplified being activated, we now get another 15% damage resist on top of what I've already mentioned, and you're also much harder to hit by targets when you are Amplified. This change to Amplified has been one of the best things Bungie has done to overhaul the Arc kit, and it is insanely powerful. So just to give you guys a little example here, you start your engine with a grapple, which instantly gives you Woven Mail, which gives you 40% damage resist. Then you smash your fist into a group of enemies, which will unravel them and turn you invisible. And also, it gives you Radiant, by the way. Then you activate Ascension, jolting anything that is left over, turn you invisible a second time, and making you amplified for another 15% damage reduction, plus also your harder hit. And finally, you can send out your Threaded Spike to sever anything you want from a distance for another 33% damage reduction from whatever that you hit and is trying to hit you. And while you just did all of that, Inmost Light from our class item has passively been feeding you ability energy to what you were just using, your melee, your grenade, and your class ability. So that's the core concept, but that's not the final form. We can go even further beyond with Prismatic, but before we do that, we need to go over our weapons because they play a role in this as well, especially feeding you that Prismatic energy. First up, we have our kinetic slot, Tenacious Mastery, pound for pound, the best legendary weapon in the entire game, with the only exception being boss damage. For everything else, it rules with an iron fist. Tenacious Mastery does like 14 jobs here for me. First off, it's great for building up any bonus darkness energy I might need. Then, it can deal with every flavor of champion in this game. It stuns barriers, it freezes unstops, which then stuns them, and it slows overloads, which also then stuns them. And it's all thanks to just one perk, Chill Clip. This also gives you a form of crowd control against standard enemies you want to freeze too. For my energy slot, I'm rocking the new Arc Aerial Denali GL Psycho Pump. Psycho Pump is here for generating light energy very quickly to fill that part of my prismatic meter. It also can help you proc bolt charges onto enemies, and as a little added bonus, it can stun overload champions as well and proc a bolt charge through that too, using the heresy mods in that extra slot on the weapon. Lastly, we have the weapon MVP of the build, a massive, throbbing worm ready to dominate the world. I'm talking about Parasite. Get your head out of the gutter. Come on now, man. Parasite is an exotic grenade launcher that quite literally feeds off of your destruction to give you a powerful GL shot that can deal massive damage to any enemy thanks to its exotic perk, Worm's Hunger. In simple terms, it's a damage perk that increases with stacks up to a max of 20. The stacks are built off of you killing enemies, whether it's from your abilities or your other weapons. At 20 stacks, this will basically one-shot anything in normal content, and if set up right, can even one-shot champions in GM content when you're at negative 25 power. Thanks to how our build is set up, we are constantly feeding off of kills and generating stacks for Worm's Hunger, so anytime that I run into an enemy that is a yellow bar or a champion, Parasite is there to destroy them in an instant. So when you combine all these things and then you put Prismatic on top, you're just basically there to play with your food until they're dead. Here's some footage of me doing the GM boss from inside Terminus, and I'm just playing with my food. I'm throwing all my abilities everywhere. I'm tagging the boss with my Prismatic Grenade. I'm popping Ascension. When I see some kills pop off with my abilities on the Legionnaires, I then throw my Worm at the boss for some extra damage, and I can do basically whatever I want without fear of dying because I have so many damage resist stacks going on all at once. So with that set up, let's talk about the rest of our kit, mainly the Fragments. We have 5 Fragments here. Starting first is Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy, so just another form of feeding you melee energy, and then rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants you grenade energy, so you have a source to get back melee and grenade energy in one fragment. Number 2 is going to be Facet of Protection. This gives you even more damage reduction when you're surrounded by combatants, so when you swing your grapple into a group of enemies, this is instantly activated, and then you also have Woven Mail, so you're just basically unkillable just from your grapple. Number 3 is going to be Facet of Purpose. Technically, what this does depends on what super you use. Since for this build I am rocking Tether, it'll give me a Void Overshield, which is actually pretty helpful, believe it or not. But technically, you could also just run the Strand super, which is going to be Silk Strike, and if you do, then when you pick up orbs, this will end up giving you Woven Mail. Though, like I mentioned several times, the grapple already does that, so I don't really see a purpose of running the Silk Strike super, at least currently anyway. Number 4 is going to be Facet of Dawn. We're using our grapple melee and threaded spike all the time, so anytime we do that, we become Radiant. When we become Radiant, we can stun barrier champions with whatever we want, as well as doing bonus damage to enemies thanks to Radiant. Lastly, Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, giving us Ascension super quickly. And we have an elemental buff basically forever in this build. As you can see on the tooltip to the right, there are so many things that are in this build that work for this. You basically will have it live the entire time. We have Amplified, we have Bolt Charge, we have Radiant, we have our Invisibility, we have a Void Overshield, and of course we have Woven Mail. As for my artifact, I'll throw up on screen here at the top somewhere. You can copy it one for one if you'd like. There's nothing crazy in there that improves this build. This build will work perfectly fine when this artifact is gone, by the way. The main 2 things you probably want to put on are just Flashover and Defibrillating Blast for bonus damage, for Bolt Charge to get amplified when you have max stacks of Bolt Charge, and then to heal anytime that you proc a Bolt Charge. I will say you should probably have the Dreadful Finisher on, as well as Gold from Lead. That way you can generate special ammo on top of also getting heavy ammo occasionally when you do your finishers. Here are my armor mods in case you want to copy them on screen, but I will have a dim link down in the description below in case you want to just do that. Also, my socials are down there. Check them out. And that's the build. I know it's not anything brand new, but my hope is just that either people who are new to the game want to see this and try it out on their own. Maybe there's some experienced people out there that have never tried this and this looks really fun and they will go ahead and use it. And next thing you know, it'll be your favorite hunter build. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or a comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave Throbbing Worm as the comment. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just leave like Worm Hunter or something. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.